Hey everyone, what is going on? I'm Matthew Oliver, and this is Stillwater Alchemy, the podcast, episode 10, The Capricorn New Moon. On today's episode, we are going to be discussing this auspicious, beautiful new moon, what it entails, and how you can use it to your benefit. So, let's dive in, shall we? One of my favorite sayings is that astrology is very poetic, and this Capricorn new moon is the perfect example of why this is so. We see that we have a new moon, which can represent a new birthing, a new cycle, a new energy available to us right as we approach 2025. Now, depending on your beliefs, how you like to celebrate, your culture, your background, you may look at January 1st as a very prominent start to a new cycle, but you may also look to different timings and different cycles as the beginning of a new quote unquote year or a new chapter, a new opportunity. But as we bring up this Capricorn new moon and the transits for those watching on Stillwater Alchemy's YouTube channel, we can see that this Capricorn new moon is going to be happening on December 30th, 2024 at approximately 5:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with the new moon happening at 9 degrees of Capricorn. What's really incredible is that we know that Capricorn is ruled by the planet Saturn. Saturn is currently at 14 degrees of Pisces. So that means that the moon is aspecting Saturn very closely by sextile aspect. Whenever the moon and Saturn are in good aspect, in good union with one another, it means that they can both support one another, and that this notion of the moon, which can represent the body, the home, emotions, and Saturn, which represents time, discipline, boundary, and mastery, get to work together. Now, if we think of those two things, what do we think about? Well, if we're talking about creating a container for us to feel good or creating structure to achieve mastery in relationship to body or home or relationships or emotion, those sound like resolutions or goals, which many humans do at the start of a new calendar year. So that's where we see that the energy of this new moon is already supporting us in things that a lot of people do anyway. Now let's take this one step further. This is a new moon in an earth sign, and then it's aspecting Saturn in a water sign. Pisces being a mutable water sign, Capricorn being a cardinal earth sign. With that cardinal earth energy, it's to initiate new things, which again is perfectly aligned with the new moon. So if we are initiating new structures to feel good, what is it that you're wanting to create? And for me, I personally love Capricorn energy because it is methodical, because it is pragmatic. It's focused on the long game. It's something that you are going to be able to achieve that you can also sustain. Like I think of the reality show Survivor, that when they first meet one another, they get divided into tribes. You shake hands, you say your name, where you're from. Like it's very Libra and Cancer, like you're connecting with people, making relationships and bonds. Libra, how do you feel about each other? How do you feel about yourself? Cancer, right? And then what do you do when you get to base camp? You create a shelter. You create a shelter so that you have a place to survive the elements. And that creating of a shelter for me is very Capricorn. You are surveying the land and then you are choosing the best possible spot to create the foundation to help you survive. That as people are getting voted off and it dwindles, you still have this camp, you still have your shelter to protect you. That no matter which relationships come and go, no matter how you are feeling on any given day, no matter what you are doing, you still have that shelter. You still have that safety and security to protect you, to make you feel safe. This is what I really would like you to think about with this Capricorn new moon energy. And furthermore, something that intuitively feels good, at least for me, so you can take this if it resonates, is what are you doing right now that is in alignment with your higher self, with your future self that already has all of your hopes and dreams. I'm curious that with this new moon making then an aspect to Neptune, December 31st, January 1st, that we are connecting with our intuition in a way that's again going to set the foundation for something big. And if we're just looking at lunation cycles, and we know that the Capricorn full moon that's going to be happening during Cancer season in the middle of 2025 is going to help bring in what we set the intentions for now. So even just from a lunation standpoint, what are you doing now? And what intentions are you birthing now to then cultivate and reap the rewards 6 months from now? Or what I am personally doing is if I am focused on the major goals and aspirations for my life and things I can start doing now to collapse the timelines, things I'm doing now that my future self would already be living their best life doing, what would that be? One of those things for me that I'm initiating and that I played with in the past back and forth is not working on Sundays. Like I really want to have one day a week that no matter what, I can block off. This is really easy because in our modern day society, currently on December 30th, 2024, most people have weekends off. Or they understand there's a social norm and understanding that if people do not get back to correspondence on weekends, that that is acceptable. Number two is that I personally enjoy working on Saturdays. It's Saturn's day. I like doing chores. I like seeing clients. I like getting everything done. But then on Saturday night, I like to relax, whether that is personal or romantic or whatever that may be. So then I know that there's nothing urgent I need to do on Sunday, that I can sleep in, that I can have the phones off, that I don't have to engage with anything or anyone if I choose not to. So blocking off Sunday and not working now will just open up space for more pleasure, more rest, more of that divine feminine to enter into my life. So I know for me, knowing what's going to be ramping up, studying my own transits coming in 2025, if I can block off Sundays now, which sometimes is easier said than done. In my mind, I'm not sure if any of you resonate with this. I'm like, oh, I'll just quickly check this email or like get back to this notification. I'll just do this really quick while I'm cooking. It's like, no, no, just put on some music and enjoy cooking. You don't need to be on your phone. So I just have my phone in a certain place in my home. I turn it off, and it's getting easier and easier to block off Sundays for that purpose. So I invite you with this new moon energy to think of at least one thing that you can do that your future self, that highest version of yourself, is already doing. And if you're liking this vibe of practicing and creating resources for yourself to put yourself in alignment with your highest self, I have a custom Capricorn New Moon meditation available on the Alchemy Point. The Alchemy Point is Stillwater Alchemy's online community. So if you're interested in subscribing and becoming a member, there is a host of spiritual resources, including custom meditations that are timeless, that can be listened to at any time. So I'll put the description for that in the comment section and in the show notes so you can learn more if you so choose. Now, if we're talking about new moons, and this is applicable for any new moon, let's just say if we go one day forward and we can see that the moon on December 31st is at approximately 23 degrees. It's making then a sextile to Neptune. And now when the moon is moving 1 or 2 days post the exact point of that origin of the new moon, it's starting to gain light, which is also quite nice for manifestation and for setting goals and intentions. And not only are we seeing that the moon is going to be making a sextile to Neptune, that even on the 1st of January, that the moon is in conjunction to Pluto. However, on January 1st, the moon also has to make that opposition to Mars. So what I'm also going to be doing, and you can take this if it resonates with you, is that December 31st, I'm going to be doing a lot of things in terms of setting off, starting, initiating, getting things in order, and also visualizing and feeling into what that is. I mean, my intuition's been going off nonstop since the start of Capricorn season, but I do feel like with this new moon, with the moon making a sextile to Neptune exactly on the 31st of December, that that would be an incredible time if you are someone that likes to do vision boards or to write out what you are wanting to create, to manifest, to call in for 2025. If you are someone that likes to do a tarot spread of pulling a card for each month of the year and channeling and intuitively sourcing what each card represents for each month. Whatever your own rituals are for 2025, if you have any, using the energy of this new moon, cultivating those origins, initiating new structures would be incredible. Of course, if you are someone that has dominant Capricorn energy in your natal chart, especially sun, rising, or moon, this new moon energy is going to be that much more impactful. I'm sure if you are someone with dominant Capricorn energy, that you've already been feeling this energy. And I really want to reiterate this beautiful moon Saturn sextile, where it gives a grounded, pragmatic approach that will likely feel really good. Like there is this excitement for being responsible, for being maybe conservative with certain energy. Not conservative in terms of being stingent or frugal, but conservative in the sense of you're conservative with your energy, that you don't want to give to certain things that are no longer aligned, whether that is obligations, duties, relationships, whatever that is, that you are conserving your energy, your emotions, your love for certain things that galvanize you, that spark inspiration, that are what you are wanting to do, what potentially you've always wanted to become. That's where you're putting your time. That's where you're putting your energy. And really sit with that because this is something that this Mars retrograde Pluto opposition is really intense right now. And Mars exalts in Capricorn. And so there is this notion of, for those of you that are into tarot, that tower card energy of things are going to fall off, things are going to crumble, people, places, things, cities, energies, mindsets, beliefs, things that do not serve you are likely to crumble in and around this new moon, or that you're going to be initiating things and then you look back. And if we use the survivor analogy of creating a base camp, maybe you didn't know that there was a cave a mile down the beach that actually already provided natural shelter. And you're like, oh, now I can just take what I learned from building the first shelter, move it over here and have more space to grow. This is actually easier to survive over here. I just didn't know that this beautiful cave existed a mile down the beach when I first arrived. There's likely to be things as you move into 2025 that are going to become more prevalent, more obvious, easier to hold, to integrate than maybe what you're dealing with right now. And that's where I'm excited when the moon is sextiling Neptune for you to be really intuitive, very intentional, be very mindful of your dreams, both physically that you're trying to create in this 3D world, but also as you sleep and what is coming through. Sometimes I have clients say that they don't dream, but then upon further probing and challenging them, they're like, oh yeah, I did have a dream last week, or there was this thing that came up intuitively right before I went to bed. And if we can cultivate that sacred space before you go to bed at night to honor the moon, to allow the moon to connect with Neptune and those emotions from your subconscious, that could also be something, if you get nothing else from this podcast and from this new moon, that you are reclaiming the moon's territory in your life. You're reclaiming the evening space that you have to build better structures to allow your emotional equilibrium to dream, to believe that your life is getting better and better, to start doing certain actions, whether that is breath work, stretching, journaling, visualization, whatever that is, even just for 60 seconds each night, to see how that creates long-term benefits over time. Okay? So let me know how that resonates. Let me know what structure, what habit, what routine you're going to begin with right now so that in 6 months' time, in a month from now, in a week from now, you can already start feeling the benefits of how being disciplined and allowing for the long game to be the priority, how that starts shifting things for you internally and externally. All right? You got this. Mwah. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing this auspicious